Good afternoon, everybody. This is Mark, and we're back here for the afternoon daily recap. It is Wednesday, so we've had a bunch of days of selling. The oscillators were at oversold when we entered this morning, and you had a little jockeying in the AM in most of the indices, and we recovered nicely to obviously close very, very strong. Is this the dip that everybody's just been buying over time, basically for the last year and a half? Maybe. We have to wait and see. I think we need a little bit more time to see if that's the case. But either way, it was a good day of trading. Some good dip buying happened. I think you got to be a little bit more cautious overnight, certainly. I think that's always the case at this point in time. But overall, if I have the spiders up here, you could just see, it bounced pretty nicely off its 50-day moving average. Even the IWMs, which certainly lagging all the indices, trying to find some rhythm. It's still much worse, not nearly as good looking a chart as the spiders or the Qs. So keep it in mind. Then we had a lot of standouts today. I would say the biggest standout and biggest industry group that was standouts were the bios. IBB basically made a new high for the year. That's one of the bio ETF, but just some standouts. I didn't really play many of them, but GILD, BIIB had a very big move. REGN, Celgene, Jazz, ALXN I saw had a nice move also. So we had a lot of big bios had some nice moves. Sets up for, obviously probably the last quarter of the year, you're going to have another run in some of these biotechs, I think, based on what I'm seeing. And there's a lot of deal flow happening. That could be why all this is moving and things are jockeying around. Other stuff, we had 2 IPOs today that were pretty decent. The CYBR was actually, CYBR really was the only good one. CFG was a big one, and it actually traded fine, but CYBR was good, so it's definitely on the radar. BABA had its first bounce today. We'll see if it gets to 92 and probably takes a break. That seems like it's where it wants to get to at this point in time. Certainly on the radar. It's something we've been talking about, and the trigger was above 88, and you could just see, on your 5-minute chart right here. It was hover and started to look a little better. Boom, nice little move out and up and at them. Other stocks that recovered nicely. Google didn't really trade it today. I don't think there's a whole lot to talk about there. The Netflixes and Teslas still need some work, in my opinion. They tried, but overall, I'm sorry, I have the wrong chart up. They still have had enough damage that I think they need a little bit more time. Twitter to me still looks okay, triggering for new buys very shortly. Facebook to me still looks okay, a little sluggish, but decent on that front. That really deals with the high betas. Yet Baidu, some of the Chinese guys recovered pretty nicely. Baidu, which is I think the leader of the Chinese guys stocks, recovered nicely. I think you might get some back and filling over the next few days. I don't see these things right back at highs immediately. Even if that is the case, or if more selling persists, I don't think it's going to be a straight line. So you got to be a little bit more cautious accordingly. Bank's still a place to be. Money's being parked there. You can see it. Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan, Citigroup, AIG maybe not as much. MasterCard still hanging in there. Really hasn't gone anywhere for a better part of 4 or 5 months, but still looking okay and hanging in there across the board. So we have a lot of stuff out there that still looks okay, but one day doesn't make or break a rally. There still was enough damage done across the board in a lot of these stocks that I think you're going to need weeks, or possibly the catalyst will be the earnings coming up in a few weeks that might make a move. But either way, price action's telling you tomorrow, you might get some more reversals. Trying to bounce off some bottoms across the board. And you've seen a lot of them. And, there's a few things that I'm looking at that didn't necessarily bounce today, but, that might be on the radar tomorrow. The VIPs, VIPS, possibly on the radar tomorrow. What else? Some stocks I think are still okay. SanDisk, okay. Qualcomm's hanging in there. Nothing too exciting on that front. ZU had a decent move. And looks pretty good. So we have enough out there to really, sink our teeth into. You don't have to be all over the place. I think the first hour can get very difficult. Try to find something that obviously has volume. that you can actually sink your teeth into. And then lastly, I forgot to mention GoPro. New highs again. Pretty pretty good looking stock. We talked about it 2 days ago. Had a nice breakout yesterday, followed through to this morning. Impressive. Who knows where it's going to stop? Obviously, it's heavily shorted. And so this thing is obviously getting squeezed, but maybe it has some, real catalyst behind it. I'm not so sure, but either way, technically, it is leading at this point in time. So hopefully people had a good day. Finally had some relief, which again, only a few days of selling, but it felt like a lot. The action was a little funky leading up to Alibaba regardless. Maybe we get back to what we had before that, which was a little bit more continuity, a little bit of bids in there. But one day does not make or break a rally. I'm still finding 1 or 2 stocks a day, trying to take advantage of them and looking for some follow through. That's it. And we'll go from there. For all those, have a good holiday. For all those that celebrate, Happy New Year. And I will see you all back next week. Talk to you later.